Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of the Smashing Skull Sessions. This week I'm joined by a band who I've been listening to since 2017 when they released their first single, New Life. They hail from Belgium. The band's name is ASTODAN. They play an amazing post-metal style of music which you just have to hear. And I'm lucky enough to have Tim Moens, who is guitarist and composer of the band. Tim, you're very welcome to the Smashing Skull Sessions.
Thank you very much.
How are things you on your end?
Good. It's decent weather and everything is well in Belgium. So
that's the job. Obviously, you're very busy man at the moment. I know that because the new album is coming out, Évora.
Yeah, next 6th of May. So
fantastic. How do you feel about the album? Are you happy with what you put down?
Really happy with the album.
Great stuff.
Had a decent stress moment, but really happy how it came out. And yeah,
that's just a natural thing, Tim. Is it everything you release? Like there's going to be that moment where you're saying, "Fuck it, will they like it? Will they take it on board?"
Well, it was just that we for this one we decided to have some vocals on it.
Yeah,
and it took a while to find the right vocals that fit it. So we had the right singer. We knew that, but it's a whole other ball game to find decent vocals, and so he did an excellent job. And it was at the end we just had to pick which one was the best.
And that's Bart van der Elst, am I right?
Yeah. From the wonderful indie band, the Geraldines.
The Geraldines, that's right, yeah. Now tell me, how did this idea come about to bring vocalists into ASTODAN, Tim?
We've been playing around with the idea for a long time. So when I created the first record, it was just instrumental. So Emeritat was never the idea to have vocals on it. And then when I started writing the second one, we just felt great to stay in the same line and just have no vocals and just let the songs be born and add strings and pianos. And it was just a really fun project, but it always played in my mind like I really want to do something with vocals.
Okay.
And then at the start of 2020, I had to fill in for the Geraldines on drums.
Okay.
And afterwards, we were driving home, and Bart was just like, "I really like what you guys are doing with ASTODAN." I was like, "Yeah, I really like your voice, so maybe we should try and do something together." And then when the lockdown hit, I just started writing songs and just sent it to him. And at his house, he was starting to record stuff and sending it back. And that's really how Évora just came by itself.
Yeah. I mean, did all the band agree with you that vocals was the next step to take, or was it something you just threw to the lads and said, "What do you think of this idea?"
Hey, yeah, I'm ASTODAN, so they just have to follow me.
They had to follow.
No, I'm very, very fortunate that they all are following me in this idea that I had years ago when I was playing in other bands and we were touring and playing hardcore, and it was always the idea of I want to do this post-rock band.
Okay.
And then when the songs were done, it was really cool to find cool guys that just were like, "Yeah, I want to get on board, and we'll add stuff, and we'll listen to you, and we'll make things better." Basically, is what they did, and that's the same for the new album. I wrote pretty much the whole thing, but then when you pass it on to the guys who are really, really well at playing guitars and using their effects, and just really, really great musicians, and it's so cool to have them by my side and just like go all in for the band.
And do they give ideas? Do they participate in saying, "Tim, maybe a tweak here"?
Yeah, they do. Sometimes I let them.
Which you don't approve of, is it? What do you mean?
No.
Wrong?
Yeah, no, it's okay. We can find a decent middle road, so we can.
Brilliant. Well, tell me, before you even got the vocalist, Tim, were you ever considered doing vocals yourself? Had you any interest in sort of keeping it within the group before you went out looking for somebody?
Well, I think Bert, like our other guitar player, is a really good singer, because we saw him. He had this melodic hardcore bands years ago and great punk rock bands, and I always liked when he was singing along.
Yeah,
but he just want to play guitar and just don't bother with that stuff.
Yeah, I get you.
Do that. So, but I think it's really cool because the idea originally was we'll have ASTODAN and we'll add some vocals. But when we were going along the way with the writing process, it came about that it was more like, no, we should have vocals with ASTODAN, not ASTODAN with vocals.
I get you.
I started drowning the vocals. Like, I really love Holy Fawn, and they
Yeah.
just bury their vocals way in there.
Yeah,
And that was what I was aiming for. But then the band and some friends that were listening to songs were like, dude, you have this amazing singer, just push him a bit up front and just remove some effects and let the vocals really speak. And that's what we went for in the studio, and we gave him more his center spot.
Yeah, that was the first thing that struck me actually, Tim, when I listened to the album. Like, it caught me by surprise where the vocals were sort of set halfway through the mix, if you know what I mean. It was sunken in a bit. And I said, am I hearing this right? And I went back and played it. But you know something? It works. It works, you know, but it takes a second for your head and your mind to adjust and say, right, this is Astodan. I know their sound. Yeah. I know that crisp, clean, heavy Astodan sound. And then you have this sunken vocal and you're saying, fuck.
Yeah, it's true.
It does take a second to get to, but it's fantastic. Like, I've listened to the album for a while now. It's class. Like, yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It was a bit hard because I really love bands like Nothing and Slow Crush, and I love the buried vocals in a sea of reverb, and it's cool that the band was more like, no, we need to put a bit. Though we found some central ground, or how do you say it, and just went for it. And maybe to the next album we can push it again a bit further, or push it a bit back, or I don't know. Like
you said, it wasn't drowned out completely. Like, it's not as if it was a case of, I don't know what the guy is saying. It's in there. It's in the back somewhere. You know, you can make out the vocal, but it's not front and center. Like, yeah,
but in the demos I recorded, there was like a ton of more guitars over it, and lots of synths, and so I had to cut some stuff to give in more position. I changed some guitar parts where I just heard like, he's doing that with his vocals. Let me just not play what I normally play, but let me just add something to add to the vocals, which it was a really, really fun experience, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Yeah, he has an interesting vocal range, hasn't he? It's sort of two vocalists came to mind straight away.
Yeah,
and it was Chino from Deftones, and I was saying, and maybe Jacob Berglund from A Swarm of the Sun. If you could sort of find a happy ground in between the two, he's sort of in there.
Yeah, it's really unique, and I'm really happy it worked.
Was that something you wanted as well, that style of vocal? It wasn't the case you wanted a growler or this raspy, gritty vocalist?
I wanted to stay clean.
Yeah.
I think we found some decent way of making it happen. Like when we burst out, with Astodan, we always love to go from really quiet parts, like have one string playing and then just burst out with everyone at the same time. And it was just amazing to see how he can add with his vocals without growling, or
it's another layer, isn't it?
Yeah, he's really in there, and it was insane to see it happen in the studio, because we recorded with Janus from Dunk Records, and he was just sitting behind the desk like, holy, what is this? This guy is like first take after first take, and he nailed it like constantly. Wow. So really, we played a show. We played 2 shows now with him, and live. It's really, really fun to.
It's worked. So it's worked for you. You're happy where you are. So on your 3rd album, like.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, the writing of the music and everything else, Tim, how do you go about it? Seeing as you are sort of the main writer, composer, whatever you like to be tagged as, but.
So this is the 3rd album, and the first I wrote by myself when there wasn't even a band. It was just I got a little studio at home, and then I borrowed some guitar, and then I borrowed a bass, and just started playing around with just Cubase and all. And this is what came out. And after the other bands, like the hardcore bands, and when the touring stopped and the other bands kind of rolled out, I just said like, okay, maybe it's time to push this in motion.
Yeah.
And then when the 2nd album came, Batala, that was one where we wrote it with the band. There's a song, Buaya, was wrote in the rehearsal space, so which was really cool to have like the band feeling. Okay. And I was looking forward to have it on this album as well, but lockdown completely ruined that. So I just started writing, and I noticed that the other guitar players didn't really have the urge with everything happening to sit behind a computer and write.
Yeah.
So it just came out. So I love to sometimes when you have an idea, I would jump in the studio, record it, and we'll see afterwards what happens.
Mhm.
I love it just to like pan out the day and just get in the studio clueless and just let it happen. I have some layers, have some reverb, and just fiddle around on guitar. Or sometimes I would just play piano, or just maybe just some cello, and just see whatever comes out. And I think that's the funnest part about this project.
Yeah, so you're not one of these guys who goes around and you have a melody in your head and you record it. This has to be there.
Oh yeah, there are. Yeah,
there's that side of it too.
My phone is full of those of me singing in a phone. So yeah. That's,
on public transport, is this what everybody can watch? Yeah.
We should do a B-side with those parts.
I suppose I jumped the gun a bit, maybe mentioned it well, because the band's name, ASTODAN.
Yes.
I did a bit of research on it there, and I don't know am I right or not. It's related to sort of Iranian funeral rites and
exactly.
Am I right? And why that concept, Tim? Where was the interest in it? Or was it something again that just came out of the blue?
When I was playing in Poison My Blood, which was a metalcore band, our guitar player started playing post rock a bit, but like just a one man band.
Yeah,
and he would call it Vulture, and I really enjoyed that name. But when you type in Vulture, there's a million bands called Vulture, and then I started just looking around what happens with vultures, and just go about with all that. And then I stumbled upon this Iranian tower where they put their bodies on the tower. The vultures would come, pick the flesh off the bones, and then they would collect the bones in the center of the well. And that's called the Astodan. Okay. So the Ameritat record is the one that's right behind you.
Yeah.
That's the tower from above. So the center is the Astodan.
Oh, very good. I didn't know that. It's nice.
And then we went about, then Batala came, which was the tree. Yeah. And that's the Philippine tribe that would put their
just
dead...
for people, that's what we're talking about here, this album and the one below it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I can't choose it. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. So they would hollow out the tree and put the person who died, they would put him up front, like in the tree. So that's their burial.
Wow.
And then now we went for Évora, which is a city in Portugal, and they have a bone chapel. So it was some 17th century monks who had to just clean out the cemeteries around the city and to give those people a good memorial and to give them a place.
Good send off, yeah.
Yeah, they would build this chapel made out of their bones.
Wow.
So it's pretty beautiful, but it's pretty
it's dark
pretty
enough.
not.
Yeah, it's pretty dark, but it is beautiful in its own way. And again, that's reflected in the artwork, Tim. I mean, you must be fucking thrilled with how they came out.
Yeah,
I mean,
I really am.
Like the artwork. I mean, I'll even show it to people there because, I mean, this is something really special. Like, every song is depicted by some artwork. It's a stunning piece of work.
Yeah, that's Yuri Silverans who made these drawings of each song.
Unbelievable stuff, Tim. Yeah, I mean, this album just blew me away when it came out.
Thanks, man.
Really did. And again, so the concept, you're continuing the same idea, the same concept, Tim.
I want to draw it out and see how far we get.
It goes.
Like each album have like a burial rite because it works with the music and it's really fun. I thought with Batala, the second one we did, I knew we were going to do the tribe and I knew which steps I wanted. So I drew out the 6 steps, and then it was really fun to write like, okay, so we need an eerie start. So it was really cool just to sit down behind the computer and let's get eerie. Yeah. And then to the end, the end has to be hopeful because they take, they say the prayers and they say goodbye to the person and they leave in hope so that the soul will reach a good place. So then Makakasanan was a song that we wrote with the idea of let's try and make it a bit uplifting. So there's a bit of hope. And I really found that interesting. Yeah. And I want to pull that out. Like, so you can, every time you start a new album, that you can make the steps and write the music accordingly.
I get you. I suppose another thing, another help to, like, there's such a storyline behind your music as you've been mentioning the albums there. Like, vocals help tell a story, obviously, don't they? I mean, whatever's in your mind musically, and it tells the story of these albums.
Yeah.
Vocals, I suppose, do give other people who just sit there and go, oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and the good thing about, the really cool thing about the Évora record is that in this chapel, there are a bunch of verses and poems on the walls. So we took them and put them in the lyrics.
Oh, wow.
So they're like entwined a bit. And then at the center, there's this huge Portuguese poem. And so we have a friend of ours say the poem with a little interlude. So it really worked out. I really love that. Everything is connected. I really love if there are people listening to the record and they like the music, and that's fine. But I love, like, you have some of these extra people who go digging deep. Yeah. And I love if they find something. And that's the same what happened with the former album with Batala. Suddenly we got mails from the Philippines, from people saying like, oh my God, you made something about our tribe and our past, something that, they just, it struck
it's struck a nerve around the world. I mean, that must be great to hear coming back to, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was really happy that everything
has an impact, like, you know.
And I really, I'm putting in a lot of effort to make everything work. And it's really cool if then the people of that area contact you and say, it's completely right. It's, well, this is correct. This is correct. This is correct. This is how they did it. So it's really cool to see.
And do you get caught up in it all, Tim? Do you dig deeper and deeper when you have an idea in your head? And you have a concept in your head.
But once I have it, it's okay. I can let it go. So that's an important part.
and the lyrics, Tim. Who wrote the lyrics?
Bart did.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, he was really 100% into the project, because it started out a bit as a project. Like, okay, it's locked down. We can't do all that stuff. I wrote some songs. I'll send them to you. Just sing a bit, and we'll see what happens.
Like, it's nice to have a guy come in who's not just coming in to step in to do vocals, but he has more of an input, you know. He writes them, I suppose he gives him more of a connection to the band. Yeah,
and it was like basically 1 month before we hit the studio, when we were sitting in our studio and just working out, the bit of tweaking here, bit of tweaking there, remove another guitar and just play something new on his vocals or change his vocals a bit. And everyone was full engaged in the album. Where he said, like, dude, I wanna be in, like, 100% be in the band, not just make an album and we'll see what happens. I wanna be part for the long haul.
Brilliant.
So so it's really paid off.
Great stuff. Well, Tim, I'm going to take an opportunity here to play a track for the people who are listening in. I'm going to play the track Oath, which is the first release from Évora. Yes. So guys, have a listen to this and see what you think, and some vocals for you to get your ears around. There you go, guys. That was ASTODAN, and that was the first track from their new album, Évora, and that was called Oath. And anyone who knows ASTODAN will hear ASTODAN musically in that. But to have a vocal edition really gives it another dynamic and adds another layer to it all. So, guys, make sure you go out and buy this. Actually, this album is available to purchase on vinyl already. isn't it, Tim? Through Dunk
Yeah.
Records.
To Drunk Records for Europe and through 1,000 Arms for the US.
Yeah.
I think A Bird's Robe is doing Australia.
Brilliant.
We have New Noise for China.
Wow.
And for UK, it's crap. Yeah.
For the UK.
For the UK, it's
Um,
Church
Road. Yeah, brilliant. You just mentioned nearly every continent in the world there, Tim. Like, are you getting feedback from everywhere? Is there people contacting you from all over the world?
Yeah, it's what defines post rock. It's little groups scattered all over the world.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's a small community, but it's worldwide. You know, it's a very close knit community as well. Everyone likes to share music and help each other out. It's great.
Yep, it is. So I'm just hoping that they don't spit us out after making a record with Focus.
I don't think so. No. No, I think people are pretty open-minded when it comes to it. You know, I mean, there's only so much you can do with music. Like, I know, look, there's so much you can do with music, but a lot of bands as well have been putting in spoken passages, taking pieces from a movie or whatever the case may be. It's a very post-rock thing to do. So I don't think there's anything too different in vocals, Tim. You know?
No, it's true. We stick to what we do when we have the crescendos and we have the smaller parts and
exactly. Like if you had done a third album without vocals, Tim, would you have been? Do you think you would have been happy, or would you have always said, "Fuck, I missed an opportunity there. I should have done what I had in mind"?
Well, no, because when I started writing this album from the get-go, in my head there were going to be vocals. Okay, even though we weren't sure that Bart was going to do it. But I started writing a bit more chorus, have a different structure to it. I suppose chorus first, Because with the first 2 albums, I really don't like to repeat anything. Mm-hmm. I feel post-rock has to be born. Like you start with something and it just goes, but it doesn't come back. Which is not like the last song of Bathala with Makakasanan. There's a part that comes back, which was the other guitar player Bert made me do it, and I liked it. But now it was just when I started writing, it was really obvious that to have we need stuff where vocals can come back and have chorus or verse and it's been fun to write like that. Yeah, brilliant.
Move away a small bit from what we were talking about your albums. Maybe talk to me about Dunk and Dunk Records and what they've done for you, because they've been on board since the start. Yeah, obviously they're Belgian like yourselves, so it is nice to keep it in house.
And it was pretty weird. It's just we all come from punk rock, hardcore bands, indie bands, and we were never really neck deep in post rock or in the whole community. I had my Russian Circles album. I love ISIS. It's been one of my favorite bands from all time. I love my 65 Days of Static. But we were never really neck deep in all that scene. Okay. So when we started creating the record, and it was just got mail from Dunk. They wanna release it, and then just the ball kept rolling, and then we played Dunk Festival, and just our mind was blown. Holy shit! There's an entire community around this. So it was really cool in 2018 when we just got in and just. We met you. We met a shit ton of people, and it was just so amazing. And then the second album came, and everyone started mailing us back, and it was just really cool to be accepted in the community and just come from miles away.
But that's the interesting thing there now that you said, you were playing in different musical places, between punk and hardcore, and not even having that background in post rock, and literally to land yourself in there on your first album, and to be taken in.
It's basically
well received. Fuck it, I mean.
It just what happened. I took a guitar and that's what came out.
Yeah, and do you think Dunk has a big part to play in that? The fact that it is Dunk Records.
They've been a huge they've been a huge help, and then they just follow us. When Bathala was happening, they just went along with it, and then we did the live. Because we were going to do release show for Bathala. We had a church where we were going to do the release show, which was sold out. It was going to be insane. Mm-hmm. But it was 2 weeks into the lockdown, so nothing happened. And we just completely lost momentum and lost that release show. So then afterwards, when everything came down a bit and we could do some stuff, we just said like, let's do this show anyway and just stream it. But the Andres, like the guy who mixed and produced a bit in our first 2 albums, he did such an insane job on the sounding of that church, which wasn't easy, but he made like such a great sound. And then just called Walt and just said like, can we do something? Can we put this on an LP? And he's like, yeah, let's do this. And then we'll have 3 variants, and he let me pick the colors, and it's been really, really great. And then they asked us for the Dunk live session, and I was there with some demos and said like, this is what I'm doing now, but it's with vocals, completely thinking he would go like, nah, sorry, find something else. But he was completely on board straight away and let us do our thing, and it has been great working with
I actually forgot to put that album up. Actually, I have the live album as well. And you know something, during lockdown, if anything,
I have it. I think it's
well, that's it up there. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. If anything good came in lockdown, there's an awful lot of bands went down that road, didn't they, of recording live, but not in front of an audience, if you know what I mean. And
it was just fun to do something.
It did tie us over for a while, because live music, you know, is a staple diet in everyone's fucking life at this stage, and to have nothing for 2 years, you know, we were on fucking cold turkey there for so long. It was mad. For me personally, it was okay, because I have a daughter of 3 years old. So the last 2 years have been amazing, just spending a lot of time with the family. To watch her grow, yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. And on the side, there was a lot of time off to work on music, and then you could grab on to projects like the church, and like we did with some other bands, we did some stuff. And yeah, it was just, for me personally, it wasn't horrible or anything.
But it was time well spent for you, I suppose. You made the most of it, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I suppose you're going to pay the price for now, because it's festival season, Tim, isn't it? And you're going to be out on the road. Yeah,
we have a tour coming up in May, and I'm a bit concerned, but yeah, we'll see what what happens. We always have Skype, so.
Come here, do you enjoy playing the festivals, or would you prefer your own shows, or maybe supporting another band?
I love the combination.
Yeah.
Like now we are doing a tour in May with Ranges, where we play a colossal weekend in Copenhagen, and we end in Dunk. So we have 2 big festivals, and I love to play smaller shows in between.
I get you. Yeah.
So you can have a bit of everything. You can play for 5 people, you can play for 20 people, and then just bam, it's like huge hall, and play a decent festival. Buy merch and sell merch, and then the day afterwards, right back to the 5 people and the sound guy. And
that's it. Isn't that the madness of it all? Like, you know, you go and play a Dunk there, for instance, you have 1,000 people packed in, and the atmosphere is fucking electric, right? And as you said, 2 nights later or 2 nights before, you're playing inside almost like a fucking bar, like with 20, 30 people watching.
It's genius, you know? Because I love both, because at the small shows there's no mics, and you can just crank the amps, and the drums are way too loud, and it's just electric.
Yeah, totally fucking.
So when in 2018 we did a tour with Jeff from Germany, insanely great band, and we played in Zurich, the Bergmal Festival. Okay. So we were on the main stage at 7 at night, so it was packed. It was really great. And then the day afterwards, we played somewhere in Switzerland in this home. It was just a home. We played in a living, so it was cool.
Someone's living room. Is it, Jed? You're all sitting on the couches
exactly
watching
someone's living room, which was great. Yeah.
And I suppose talking about being yourselves from Belgium and Dunk from Belgium and the Belgian festivals, like the music scene in Belgium is thriving at the moment, it seems, isn't it? I mean, I've spoken to so many bands from Belgium. And it's not just post-rock, it's post-metal, there's hardcore,
there's some stuff going.
Was that always there, Tim, or is it something that's sort of been growing over the last few years?
I think it's a bit double. I think now there's just some smaller groups who are really dedicated to the genre. Mm-hmm. But when I look back to 10 years ago, when there were punk rock and hardcore shows, it was total madness. Mm-hmm. Like you had rooms where 100 people could fit, and there were 200 people just climbing on top of each other. So like I said, I come from a totally different scene. Mm-hmm. But now if you go back to hardcore shows in Belgium, a lot has changed. But as you say, like post-metal, post-rock. But that's also because there are some really, really great bands coming about. You have like Psychonaut, which is booming. Potamus, which is going like super well. So you have like a shit ton of bands just doing really, really, really well.
And that's the thing, the post-rock scene even, and post-metal scene, there is so many bands, Tim. Like, you go onto Bandcamp there, you could spend fucking hours scrolling through bands that are, you know, it's not easy to get noticed, if you know what I mean.
That's true.
To make the jump that G did, for instance. I mean, to go from your first release and fucking hit the ground running, you know, it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, but that's what I learned. Sometimes you gotta look back and just see at what you have achieved. Because I feel, for me personally, I'm always looking too much forward.
Yeah.
And like, just crap, we didn't get that tour. We missed that festival. And sometimes, like you say, we have to ease down a bit and just look back as like, dude, we played some good stuff, and we are in a good position. Like, we were really fortunate to record this album and have Dunk, and we're going to have the LP. 1,000 Arms are going to do the CD, and I'm not saying I took it for granted, but it's important to remember that you don't have to take it for granted.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I think the heavy music scene in general, like, it seems to be booming. Like, you know, I think people seem to be getting more comfortable with heavy music. It's become more accessible, isn't it? Do you not think? I mean, you go to small gigs around the place before, you'd be lucky to get 10 or 20 people into a death metal or a thrash metal band or a hardcore band. But no, people are willing to experiment with music and go in and say, fuck it, heavy music, let's go and have a listen.
It's true, but it's also, we have this radio in Belgium, and they always do the top 666 of the heavy songs. Okay. And what has happened over the past 3 years is that they are not adding they're by themselves, but just people are starting to vote for Belgian bands. So there's a shit ton of Belgian bands getting in that list. Yeah. But that list is a list that kids listen to. Exactly. They come together, drink beers, and the list is like full on in youth houses and stuff like that, and bars. So it's really important. Like, this year, I think Master of Puppets has been number one for, I think, 100 years or something. Yeah. And this year it was Brutus.
There you go.
So like, they just kicked Metallica away. So that's insane. That's like wonderful to see that happen.
And it is wonderful to see it. And it's something that I've noticed as well now in the last few years. Like, you know, the big guns, as you said, the big bands, the big metal and rock bands dominated the scene for so long. You know, you get sick of, as much as I love them all, don't get me wrong, Slayers, Megadeth, Metallicas, it's great to see some new life being injected into it, isn't it? And you said Brutus, like, came out of nowhere, and the sound is incredible. And there's so many bands out there, and it's great to see people listening to them.
But you know, and they're getting picked up by the huge bands, and they're promoting them. So and
they're supporting them on tours and everything. It's a great. Spotify has that helped it, do you think?
I think so. Yeah. I think so, in a way, not in paying wise.
Absolutely not. No.
But
we won't go down that rabbit hole tonight. No, but
I have found so many new bands over Spotify. Like I'm insanely excited about Birds in a Row, and that's just something I was listening to Brutus. And when the record stopped, he just spinned me in Brutus radio, and the first thing happened was Birds in a Row, and so I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think it has its place, as I mentioned before, talking to a few other guys. It has its place in the music domain, if you know what I mean. It's giving people an opportunity to get their music out there that normally wouldn't, because as we said earlier, go back 20 years ago, trying to get a record label to listen, or trying to get someone to turn up at your gig.
Yeah.
You know, the tables have turned, like, I think, have they?
It definitely has.
Yeah. What are you currently listening to? I know you mentioned Birds in a Row. So what else is on your Spotify playlist?
I'm going down a shoegaze rabbit hole at the moment.
Right.
Nothing came to play in Brussels last week. So they've been on the radio nonstop now in my car. And then I've been really digging this Great Hell.
Okay.
Great Death. Okay,
that's new to me.
Which has been nonstop on my
Yeah.
my player. So yeah, it's basically shoegaze at the moment.
Shoegaze, yeah. We all go through phases, I think, don't
Yeah,
we?
we all go through phases.
When you go into something, that's it. You're locked in for a few weeks.
Yeah,
until
definitely.
you hear something else. Tim, I have a few questions as well I want to ask you before we go. I ask everybody that comes on the show my 3 session questions, and I did you see them? I actually sent them on to you.
Yeah. I took a long time to think about it. I'm still not really sure.
Yeah, but you can give me some answer anyway. So I suppose the first question, Tim, is if you could walk into a recording studio and put down any track, anything at all from any genre, any time.
Drums for Concubine of Converge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because for me, that record came out in 2001. And till this day, there's not a single song in the world that gets me more excited than Converge Concubine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus, you were that well rehearsed. You had that off like that.
That was the easy one. that was like
one.
straight away. It's like Concubine. Like there's nothing.
No comparison.
No comparison. Definitely.
If you could play live on stage then, Tim, walk on stage and play with any band that has ever fucking lived or is still living, walk on stage and play a couple of their tracks with them, who would it be?
That was a hard one. But I would go for the chaotic ones. Like just have I know the telepathy guys went for Dillinger Escape Plan. Yeah. So I was in the same genre. I would play like bass, which would be the best thing to do when you're throwing out your gear.
I get you.
But I would go for the Chariot or Dillinger Escape Plan, the same.
Excellent, brilliant
and
stuff.
just go nuts for an hour, and then
that was it. I mean, I think Mark from We Lost the Sea wanted to play a big venue, something like fucking 60, 70,000 people just to experience. I think he mentioned, did he mention Foo Fighters, I think? And, you know, it's interesting to see what fellas and what people, you know, listen to outside of this little cocoon that we're in, you know. And as I said, and he mentioned, who else did he mention now? There's another band again, you know, mainstream stuff.
I could pick Slipknot then, and I would play huge venues and still be crazy. So that could work. But it's the same reason why I started playing guitars for ASTODAN, because I'm a drummer. I'm like 100% drummer. I'm not really a guitar player.
All right.
But it's just like it's 12-year-old me with a tennis racket on stage. So it's the feeling is just really, really great.
Brilliant. Tennis racket, brilliant. You'd have your tennis racket, I'd have my hurley, so that's how we get on. We create our own band. Give me a name of an album to look out for this year, Tim. Any band releasing something that you want everyone to know about?
I'm really excited about the new Cave-In.
Cave-In, yeah.
They have released those 2 songs, and they're just wow. I love them both. They also have like the best video for the last one. They recorded the God City.
Okay,
Kurt
I
Ballou,
didn't see that
and
now.
it's just check it out. It's such a small group of really, really cool guys, in my opinion. Like Nate Newton from Converge, and I love all those guys, and see them now come back with Cave-In. It's just
great stuff. Now, before I let you go, Tim, I want to ask you about when we had our few pints a few years ago there at Dunk.
Yes,
there is an Irish connection, is there?
One of my best friends is from Cork, and you are from Cork. Yeah,
I was wondering what the connection was. I was trying to fucking play it back in my head.
Yeah, and I was going crazy. I was like, "Oh, you're from Ireland. My best friend is from Ireland." And I'm from Cork, and I was like, "Oh, he's from Cork."
Such a small world, isn't it?
That's still on the plans. We really, really want to do something.
Oh man, I would love to see you come over. I really would, Jack, because the Irish scene is thriving at the moment. The Irish metal and rock scene. It's in a really good place, a very healthy place.
All right.
Thanks in no small part, really, to Richie from the Metal Cell, who I mentioned to you earlier off air, who we were talking about. You know, the work he's doing in promoting Irish music is huge. Like, so I might get you to.
Okay, we'll shut down this podcast and we'll start talking about it.
There you go. One more thing as well. Do you want to plug some tours and let people know when you start or where you're going to be?
I'm just gonna cheat for the exact dates, but it's coming up in May. We are leaving on May 16th. Then we are playing in Dunk HQ, Zottegem, like where Dunkfest would have been.
That's right.
It's tour with ranges, so all the shows are with ranges. Then we are going to Leipzig, Munich, Kiel. Then we are playing a Colossal weekend at Copenhagen, which is going to be really fun. Then it's Naumburg, Hamburg, Cologne. Paris, and then we play Dunkfest. So, but just check out the Facebook, Instagram.
Exactly.
We have a really sweet poster from Wilson from 1,000 Arms, and really excited to get in the van again and just play some tennis rackets.
Those tour days sound insane, Tim, and to have Rangers on board, like two incredible bands. Oh man, I actually wasn't initially going to Dunk. I was going to leave it go this year because I'm going to Arctangent in August, but last week I just said fuck it, I'm going to go.
Yeah, you should, because
I cursed myself, but I was hoping maybe to catch one of the smaller shows in between. That's what I was saying. I might catch you in one of those bars with 10 or 20 people or somebody's front room, you know.
The day before Dunk, we are playing Paris, which is a 3-hour drive.
Okay.
So
interesting one.
Just contact us. Maybe we can make something happen. Get in the van or anything. Just we'll see what happens.
Tim, all I can say now is wish you well with everything. I hope the tour goes, which I know will go well. Fucking, it's you're an outstanding band. Your sound is incredible. Everybody has to see you, really do.
Let's just hope no one gets COVID or anything and just have to cancel the whole.
Just fucking don't tell anybody. Just keep going.
I just jinxed it.
You did, yeah. Just don't tell anyone. Yeah, just go around with a false COVID test and just say,
I'll wear a face mask. It's okay. We'll make it work.
Thanks so much for coming on, Tim.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And good luck with the album Évora. I've no doubt it'll be well received by people. To have vocals gives it another dimension, gives it something different. It's still very Astodan in sound. I have to say that you have your own unique sound, I think. And as you said, you know, going from those really heavy, crisp, clean riffs down to your literally single fucking chord picks, you know, it's all still there for people that love that. It's just
that's what I started when I started the band. I wanted to have parts that were quieter than Mono and Explosion the Sky. I wanted to be heavier than Amun-Ra and Cult of Luna, and so. Yeah,
you've hit both extremes anyway. Yeah,
it's been a battle. It's been a battle.
It has. Tim, thanks a million for coming on, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon.
We will at Dunk.
At Dunk anyway, exactly.
And in Paris.
And possibly Paris. I'll have to speak to the missus about that. We'll see. Thanks everybody for listening in again. Thanks to Richie from the Metal Cell, who always produces and edits the show. I wish, as I said, Astodan all the very best of luck in their tours, and I'll catch you all again in a couple of weeks' time. Take care, guys. All the best.